Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear brothers, how are you all? This is Mega Goal 2, Unit 1, Lesson 2. Let's get started. If I ask any of you if you want to show contrast, what can you use? He would say, I'm going to use but. For example, you can say, I studied hard, but I get a low mark. We have other conjunctions that we can use if we want to express contrast. We have although, even though, and in spite of. Although and even though and even in spite of have similar meanings. They are almost the same like the word but. Although and even though introduce a clause that has a subject and a verb. This is very important because when I use although or even though, I have to use a complete sentence. That means I need a subject and a verb. What about in spite of? When I use in spite of, that means I need even a noun or a gerund. Remember this word, the word gerund, which means a verb plus ing form. The first example here, if you can see, we said, although it rained, we enjoy the vacation. Although, followed by a subject here, which is it, a pronoun, and also we have a verb, rained. Even though I was tired, I couldn't sleep. The same here. Even though, followed by subject number 1, I, and a verb number 2, which is was. What about in spite of? First of all, if I want to use in spite of in the first sentence instead of although. So I said here, although it rained, I can say in spite of the rain, in spite of raining. So don't forget, if I use in spite of, that means I need even a noun or a gerund. Look at this example here. In spite of the traffic, I arrived on time. In spite of the traffic here is, yes, it's a noun. So in spite of is followed by a noun. What about the next one? He went to school in spite of being sick. He went to school in spite of being sick. In spite of here is followed by verb to be, but we have to add ing to make it as a gerund. So don't forget, although, even though are followed by subject and a verb, while in spite of is followed by even a noun like this word, traffic, or a gerund like being. Some other conjunctions like as soon as and when. This is very important because as soon as and when they are used in the future forms, that means they are followed by present, not past. For example here, these conjunctions of time are not followed by future forms of verbs, even though the verbs tell us about the future time. The present is used instead. So in this situation, if you talk in the future, that means you have to use the present simple instead of the future form. Like here, I'll tell you as soon as I, yes, this is very important. I'll tell you this is future, and when I use as soon as, that means I need a present form as soon as I know. The same like here, I'll call you when I, now we have I'll call you, future tense, then we have conjunction which is when, that means I need a verb in the present form when I arrive. Something else which is so that. We use so with an adjective or with many, much, few, little to express result or degree. The noise was so loud that we could hardly hear ourselves talk. Now look here please. I said the noise was so loud, so we use so. Then we have an adjective. Remember that we can use so followed by an adjective. That when we have the other or the rest of the sentence, we could hardly hear ourselves, the result. What about here? There were so many. Now, so we don't only use adjectives with so, but also we can use words like many, much, few, little. Actually, we call them quantifiers. So I can say so many cars that we couldn't find a place to park. You have to be careful because we know that many is followed by a countable noun, but much is followed by uncountable nouns. So here, when I said so many cars, car here is a countable noun. This is plural form, cars. So I have to say so many, not so much. Okay. Now let's move to exercise regarding the difference between although and in spite of. For example, the first one, her busy schedule. Maya always remembers her friends' events. So look here carefully. Should I use although or in spite of? The word here, busy, this is not a subject, right? So I can't use although, I have to use in spite of. Because as we said, in spite of is followed by even a noun like here or a gerund. Number 2, Steve had all the right qualifications. He wasn't chosen for the job. Yes, Steve, subject, had is the verb. So when I have a subject and a verb, that means I can use yes, although or even though. The next one, our team lost the game. We played much better than the other team. This is very important because here we have subject, we, and we have a verb. So remember again, don't forget please, whenever you have a subject and a verb, that means you have to use although or even though. The next one, we had a really good time at the beach. The cloudy weather. Well, the cloudy weather is not a subject and a verb. This is, yes, a noun, an adjective and a noun, so I have to use in spite of. The last one, she has a Russian last name. She was actually born in Canada. So again, she has, that means, yes, I have to use although because although is followed by a subject and a verb. Thank you very much. That was the end of our class. See you soon. Thank you.